Men of Reddit, what pisses you off most about other men? I don't have much to complain about my guy friends, however, I just hate some men who, when in a group, keep trying to establish dominance. They usually do that by being loud, interrupting people and laughing at you, instead of laughing with you. Absolutely agree. Short story time. My wife and I shoot pool every Monday and Thursday for our league. As such, the same people are always there. One night random, what appeared to be prostitute decided that she was gonna spend her night at our location to try to make some money. It was blatantly obvious she was on the prowl. Anyone that held eye contact with her for longer than 2 seconds was her next target, and she didn't take no for an answer. One of the guys made the mistake of acknowledging her, and for the next hour she wouldn't leave him alone. So, my wife and I told him to come stand between us, and any time she would wander too close, we would kind of close off any open space around him and tell her to go away, nicely. So by the end of the night this lady finally gets the clue and moves on. Yay. Next day, my wife gets a Facebook message from the guy that we saved, that just said thanks. It was greatly appreciated. My wife responded with something along the lines of "You're welcome, no problem." He then proceeds to send a few more messages over the next 3 days. "Hi, how are you? Good morning. Thanks again. Just a bunch of petty stuff. Then as we're sitting at the bar the next Monday, she gets another message from him. He sent a fucking dick pic. We saved him from a prostitute. We hit him and helped him, and his initial thought process was I should send the married lady a picture of my cock. WTF, dude. I forewarned the owner that I was gonna get into a fight when I saw him again. We're actually good friends and we hang out all the time. The owner asked us to forward him the picture. He then printed it off and hung it up on the wall with him name and regular picture. Dick pic guy is no longer allowed at the bar. Lol. My story isn't nearly as good as yours is, but I reconnected with a guy I went to high school with. I'll be 46 soon, so I haven't seen this guy in 25+ years, and we weren't close even then. We sent a few generic messages, "Hey, nice to catch up. Glad you are doing well," kind of stuff. 3 days and after hearing about his wife, kid, job and how he has moved around a lot, bam, early morning dick pic. I have had my share of unsolicited dick pics. It is basically part of your welcome to the internet, female, kid. But getting one from a guy I barely talked to 25 years ago before I've even had my coffee was just extra irritating. I never believed that guys actually do that until female friends of mine told me how they get random dick pics from guys they knew a little bit or just random guys on Instagram. I just don't get the thought process behind it. Does it make you horny, or are you trying to make the girl horny? Does it ever work to get the girl interested in you? Isn't it kind of sexual harassment to send this to someone without their consent? Really fucking weird. I feel like this is one of the reasons I'm better friends with women. In general, I'm pretty emotional and caring around my friends, but often can't express that to my male friends because they'll shit on me for it. And obviously they won't open up about what's bothering them either. Luckily, I've found a small, caring group of guys that allow each other to be vulnerable without criticism. Having a caring group of men to spend time with has been very good for my mental health too. I'm a woman with about a 50-50 friend split, and I hear this a lot from my guy friends, that it's women they go to for emotional support versus other guys. I think it's unfortunate, for a number of reasons. It feels like it's sort of self-sustaining. Like I will often see guys complaining about women not caring about men's mental health because they don't do things like give compliments, and it's like, guys, compliment each other, but I get how when nobody's doing it feels weird to try. My wife's co-worker's mind is blown that I watch the kids and do things like get them from daycare and see them off to school or get them ready to go. They all say that their husbands don't and won't do that. I wonder why the fuck not? It's their kids too. Why don't you have equal responsibility with them? I actually enjoy it and don't look at it like a chore. This is one of the biggest secrets of being a good conversationalist. People absolutely love to share knowledge about stuff they find interesting. So if you know just enough about something to ask interesting questions about it, you can draw out people's actual passion for something into the conversation. I love listening to people talk about stuff they are passionate about, and in the end I learn something and they feel heard. It is good all around. The phenomenon of men agreeing with each other by going not only that, but 8-paragraph-long diatribe, is hilarious to me, and I've done it so goddamn much myself. We all want the last word and the hottest take. I think it's easy to be insecure, and if your intelligence is ever praised, then maybe you're more likely to want to make sure the world knows you're knowledgeable. Edit. There's a difference between yes and an I desperately need everyone here to know that I have the deepest understanding of the thing being discussed. It's really easy to switch between the two during a normal conversation, and I still do, but I used to, too, in that second group all the time, because my intelligence was often the only thing I felt I ever had going for me. That results in treating conversations as moments to show off rather than build relationships. I don't mean to say that anybody is bad for wanting to contribute to a conversation. I deal with this with my best friend and craft beer. He treats it like it's a competition. If I get beers by myself, he'll go and get beers that same day. Even when his fridges can barely handle it, I don't address it, because at the end of the day, it's his money, and it's not like he gets mean about it. I just don't understand why he feels like he has to one-up me and a few others in our group. When we shut Ecother down instead of building Ecother up and think it's cool and okay. I've been guilty of it too, but I'm trying to be better. You guys, I am overwhelmed with the discussions, awards, undeserved, and how much attention this post has gotten. Thank you all for your support and honesty, and I will try to reply to everyone. In the book Don't You Know Who I Am?, Dr. Ramanita Vasala asserts that narcissistic people are pathologically insecure. This insecurity manifests itself in rage, entitlement, and other negative emotions. She goes on to say that narcissism is endemic in our society, being fueled by social media and popular culture. It's interesting to me how the same personality traits that are detrimental to our personal relationships can be beneficial and even admired in the workplace. I have pretty much minimized my contact with my group of guy friends because I'm a 40-year-old man who just wants friends who support each other, not overgrown children who want to talk shit to each other constantly. Ball busting on occasion is fine, but it's basically the default for so many guys. I have a lot more guy friends, but the only friends who I would say really know who I am as a person are my friends who are women. I have pretty much minimized my contact with my group of guy friends because I'm a 40-year-old man who just wants friends who support each other, not overgrown children who want to talk shit to each other constantly. Ball busting on occasion is fine, but it's basically the default for so many guys. I have a lot more guy friends, but the only friends who I would say really know who I am as a person are my friends who are women. I used to manage a small security company. The best guys are usually the old retired dudes who are fine with writing stuff down and using a phone to call the police. Following that, look for university students who are not interested in law enforcement. They'll miss days and smoke weed, but they won't beat up old ladies and get you sued. If somebody starts talking about how they have training or weapons or are going to join the military or police, the best place for them is a quiet warehouse with zero responsibilities. I'm a UPS driver and there's a guy on my route that works security. He's hilarious, so cliché it hurts. He has 2 Crown Vics W searchlights, a hind tight with Oakleys and a sick mustache, and walks around in full tactical gear at all times. He lives in a cheap kinda ghetto apartment complex. I've talked to him a couple times and he's straight up the last type you described. In the probably 2 minutes total I've talked to him, he's given me exactly what you said, mentioned his martial arts training and he was a cop but got hurt in training and had to quit. What fantasy world these guys live in, but it's so funny. My wife deals with this a lot, seasonal business. Here's what you do: make a cheat book for whatever the job is, like a folder with lots of reference material, notes, tip, tricks and stuff like that. If they an insufferable ass who refuses to learn, teach them what you can hand them the cheat book and every time they have a problem and try to blame you, which they will, open that fucking book and point right at it. Hard to say you didn't teach them when you went out of your way to make a cheat sheet for them. Edit. Well, holy crap. Glad you guys like this advice. My wife is an psychologist. She knows her shit. To those saying it is extra work, it is. But it isn't. Keep copies. You have a great tool to help train others train and it saves you from having to retrain people who refuses to learn. To those saying well guys shouldn't act that way at all, dumb. My favorite all-time construction super is this foul-mouthed old dude with a giant white beard who looks like a jacked evil Santa Claus. He's got a million little tricks and shortcuts and easier ways to do things and he says them all mixed with all these weird old phrases you don't hear much, like getting your horn scrapped or give her the old house your father. He may just be making up phrases as he goes, we have no way of knowing, but if you're out there Richard, I hope you're swearing and teaching a carpenter how to bend nails and use them to hold lumber against pre-drilled concrete. The bent nail stays in the hole you drill into the concrete, so you don't have to use a gunpowder-actuated nail gun to tack wood to concrete for forms or bollards or what have you, or whatever the hell trick it is you're sharing today. When I was married to my ex-husband years ago, I was about 20 then, I started getting weird calls on my cell phone from a Texas number. Mind you, I lived in the East Coast. It would listen to me talk and abruptly hang up. It became so relevant that I told my husband at the time about it and he said ask them what they want. Of course never answer. Well, I had worked at a campground and a guy who worked there was overly nice to me, but he was local and I never connected him to the Texas number. Anyways, he offered me 2 tickets to a baseball game and I didn't want to accept but he insisted. He just did random shit like this, and I thought it was off but I never flirted with him. I always kept my distance etc. I was not attracted to him at all. He knew I had a husband and I was married and he often made small talk with my husband. Anyways, I get a text message from the number saying meet me at a local grocery store outside. I started feeling weird. Did this person with a Texas number stalk me to my hometown? Is this someone in my town? My husband insisted I show up. This was so stupid and dangerous, I know, but my husband parked around the corner. The text told me to go inside to a certain aisle. I was not comfortable doing this at all, and all of a sudden hands cover my eyes. They turn me around and it's that guy at my work and he's really made me uncomfortable. I was really angry about this. I asked him how he got my phone number. He apparently got it off my boss's clipboard in the back office. He had been stalking me by my house. Worse, his family were pretty prominent in this town and if I went to police I wouldn't be taken seriously. He was really offended it didn't turn out the way he expected. He quit his job abruptly. I never saw him again. There worse, he had a GF and she was pregnant. I couldn't bring myself to hurt her and she still don't know to this day. She is a friend of my niece. Apparently after this encounter he got caught driving aggressively, threatening to run someone off the road etc. He was really pissed off. Nothing came of it because the town usually deals with their own with a stern telling off. However, if I were not in a public place, I wonder what kind of reaction he would have had. I used to buy my ex-fiancé flowers every other week. I did it to show I cared and because it helped uplift our living space. Every time without fail, if I'd pass some random old guy, they'd laugh at me, ask what I'd done wrong, say ooh someone's in trouble, or just imply that I've somehow been emasculated, like for fuck's sake it could be for someone's grave for all you know. Im6'4. Touted, generally pretty high testosterone type guy. But I don't ever need to justify any of my actions to the imaginary high council of manly men. You can bench press a defeated mountain lion in the morning and unwind with a pina colada in the bubble bath while wearing a charcoal face mask in the evening. The two are not related at all. As a man, I have known many women that have been sexually assaulted by other men. It's way more common than you would think, and I just don't understand what makes these guys do this. I'm a man with wants and needs like everyone else, but I would never force anyone to do something they didn't want to do. Way too many stories of girls getting raped or assaulted by drunk or sober guys, and it really makes me sick. I just don't get why they do that. My sister-in-law was always getting screamed at by her nuts jealous piece of shit boyfriend, and she would complain about how he's so jealous and accuses her of stuff all the time. I told her and my wife every time he's for sure cheating. They said I was just assuming. You know, when she found out he was in fact cheating on her with multiple girls, one called and told her about it while she was in the hospital, giving birth to her third child with him. She's 21. Men who can't clean their own mess, do their laundry, cook their own food. Being a functional adult basically. I used to live with 3 other people, 2 men and 1 woman. The guys couldn't help keeping the house clean even if their lives depended on it. One of them would help if pressured, but I'd had to clean everything again because he had such low cleaning standards, but the other one wouldn't pick up a broom. I was looking for this comment. A lot of my wife's friends are married to mad children. The wives do all the cooking, cleaning, 95% child rearing, and still work at a paying job 40 hours a week. Meanwhile, the mad children are drinking beer in the garage, getting fatter every week, or playing video games all night. I feel bad for her friends. Most of them deserve better. I'm not a perfect man or husband, but I hope I'm setting a good example of what one is supposed to be, for my daughter. I live in the middle of a pretty calm small town. Even then, my wife can't take the dog for a walk by herself without being harassed, some D-bag whistling at her or yelling out a car window at her. Fellas, what exactly are you hoping to accomplish when you do that? I don't think twice about taking the dog for a walk down any street or rally in town at any hour, day or night. It's awful that women can't just go for a walk on a nice evening without being bothered. I was riding in the car once with 2 of my friends, all guys, and one of them rolled down his window to catcall some lady walking nearby. Me and my other friend went off on him and told him how inappropriate that was and that he should never do it. He legitimately said but they like it. It turned into a recurring argument for a while, but I think he just didn't want to admit he was wrong. If I remember correctly, he said he wouldn't do it anymore. It happens to my wife constantly. I had to leave work to rush to a store because some guy would not leave my wife alone. He even followed her out to her car. Once, my wife came into the store I work in. She was waiting nearby for me and one of my coworkers stopped me to point at my wife as he said inappropriate things. You can imagine his shock when I got upset and told him that he was talking about my wife. There are creeps everywhere. It happens to my wife constantly. I had to leave work to rush to a store because some guy would not leave my wife alone. He even followed her out to her car. Once, My wife came into the store I work in. She was waiting nearby for me and one of my coworkers stopped me to point at my wife as he said inappropriate things. You can imagine his shock when I got upset and told him that he was talking about my wife. There are creeps everywhere, constantly to her. She's had multiple stalkers. It's so fucked up. Like she's the most gorgeous woman I've ever met, but holy fuck did I not realize the price she pays for that. If you're one of those guys, fuck you. Your lack of ability to socialize like a normal person is not an excuse to make other people feel uncomfortable as fuck and question their safety and security.